Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Open eCry market commentary for the week of May 6th. My name is Toby Gennaro from Trade with Precision, and just coming to you this week with the market outlook. And starting things off here, looking at the S&P 500 and the broader equities markets, looking at the monthly chart, just closed out very bullish trend here. Just closed out the month of April, very bullish candle there on the monthly chart, and then just a few days later here, we kick off the new month, new candle of May, and we've already broken the high of April, and it looks like we're back off to the upside. Moving averages looking very tight there. Everything in alignment: the 200, the 50, the 20, and the 10. Moving over to the weekly chart, you can see we had a couple of touches there in at that 1594 level, which had been providing some resistance there. Once we got a break of that level, shot up past 1600, and we still don't have a lot of extension from the moving averages here, the 10 and the 20. But we are continually moving to higher highs, higher lows, as you can see here on the daily chart. A couple of touches there right around that 1594 level. Got a break there. Now, any pullbacks to that 1594 level, I'd be paying attention since once this has been resistance, now on any pullbacks to that level, this will more than likely turn into a support level. And so if we move down to the 480 chart, we've got a fairly bearish looking candle right there at the top. If we get a break at the low of that candle, there's probably a good chance we might be pulling back down into the moving averages for a setup. And then we also have that 1594 level just coupling very nicely there with the moving averages. If we do get that pullback, I'd be looking at that 1594 level, looking for our trend flow setup that we're teaching in the advanced course, and then looking for that setup candle then to take the move back up to the most recent high. So things looking pretty bullish here on the equities markets, on the S&P 500, and on the index futures here, the mini ES contracts. And looking at the small cap index, Russell 2000, looking at the Russell contract here, we can see that on the monthly chart, very nice optimal chart structure here, very nice trend and a flow of all the moving averages in alignment, fanning to the upside. Nice price action of higher highs, higher lows on the monthly chart. Again, you guys have been trading this for a while. This has been going on in basically our fourth year since we had the market crash there in '09. And just looking at the closeout of the April candle on the month, and incredibly bullish candle there, just right around that 10-period moving average, and then just similar to the ES, we got a break of the high just here in May. Things are looking very bullish here, even though we have still another 3 weeks of the month left on the May candle. We can move over to the weekly chart and then look at that nice pullback into the buy zone on the weekly chart. Got a nice bullish candle set up, and then we're breaking the highs back up past that 951 level, which had been, as you can see here on the daily chart, had been resistance for quite some time. And now we just put in a higher low right here, broke the high, put in a higher high, and it looks like we're back off to the races here. So we're getting a pullback into that level right now, into that 951. So more than likely that level is going to turn into more than likely a support level. If we get a little farther pullback, more than likely it'll be right back into the moving averages, potentially for another move, maybe at past 951. So as we look at the 480 chart, it doesn't really tell us anything new here. We can still see some of the same levels. Any pullbacks are going to be right back in and around that 951 level, and we're pretty much almost there right now. So things looking pretty bullish here on some of the higher time frames, like the monthly, the weekly, breaking through that level at 951. I'd like to see here, before getting committed above 951, I'd really like to see another candle here that's pretty solid, getting a pullback off of this one. And so I would like to see a little bit more of the market prove itself in terms of getting long, and I'd much prefer to look for my pullbacks in and around that moving average zone here on the daily chart, or even on the 480 chart, and couple that with a level like 951, and that tends to be much more of a solid setup in terms of some of the stuff we're teaching in the advanced course. So overall, things looking pretty bullish here on the small cap stocks and the big cap stocks, and looking for the markets to move higher into the week, unless there's some fundamental news coming out that certainly changes things. We have some different scenarios going on in the Middle East and in some of the other parts of the world. So North Korea, there's still some issues out there that seem to have subsided, but these things can come up at any point in time. We don't necessarily trade off news. We're looking to trade more of the reaction to the news. but more than likely the markets are due for some kind of a pullback here going forward, but we're just not seeing any type of selling momentum that can really stay in tune. The buyers are certainly winning each and every day and continue to push this market higher. And then taking a look at some of the technology stocks here on the NASDAQ index. Don't look at this one too often. We've been in a range, as you can see here on the daily chart, for quite a while. Just got a breakout of that range and a breakout of that most recent level there at 28.50 in the last week. And then it looks like we're moving higher. I'd really be looking for a pullback into the moving averages on the daily chart. I mean, as we can see, some of the higher time frames really have just a very nice just an optimal chart structure here. Very nice setup on just a lot of small candles, a lot of solid buying pressure. Moving averages are in great position. Same here on the weekly chart. Even though we had that little bit of consolidation right within here for quite some time, and then we finally got a breakout to the upside. And so I'd really be looking for any pullbacks into the moving averages here on the daily chart, pullbacks into moving averages on the 480 chart, and then potentially looking at something even lower, like even the 240. So looking at some of these charts and some of these pullbacks, what I'm looking at here is that the moving averages just look to be catching up to the price. So we're not necessarily getting a deeper pullback like all the way back to this 28.50 level. But I'd be probably looking for something a little bit more shallow. That's what it's been doing here. Historically, we've been getting these really nice setup candles right in that buy zone. There's a nice small setup candle there, and we just continue to push higher. So I'd look for that to be the same. Either the moving average is going to catch up with the price here, or we're going to consolidate sideways and then go higher, or we're going to see just pull back into some of these levels right around here at, potentially 28.84, maybe something in there around 29.08, and that would put us right within that buy zone in amongst that 10 and 20 period moving average on some of these higher time frames. So NASDAQ looking pretty bullish here. It's been kind of sideways for quite some time, but things seem to be breaking out to the top side and looking to move higher. And that'll wrap up the outlook on the markets for the U.S. indices this week. And I'd like to thank you for watching the Open Ecry market commentary for the week of May 6th. And we look forward to speaking to you next week on the Market Update.